1, 2. Clap on.
Song because it is full of joy and it reminds us of all our spiritual qualities and abilities, and it does it in such a fun way. So I am honored and excited about today. Thank you all for being here on this very special day. And let's begin with prayer. So I invite you just take a moment to take a nice gentle breath and close your eyes, centering within. And our hearts are filled with joy at being together. Our hearts are also filled with many different emotions and thoughts today in this transition day. And we are here to support and love one another through this change and all the changes in our lives, knowing that the unchangeable is the Christ within each one. And we celebrate that truth together today and always, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity. My name is Linda Sletton, and we recognize each one of you as wise, loving, powerful spiritual beings. Thank you for sharing your radiant presence with us today. We are pleased that you've chosen to be with us, either in person or online. If this is your first time being with us in person, please pick up a welcome packet in the foyer before you leave. We also ask to please turn off your cell phones or any electronic devices. Please turn them completely off as they do interfere with the sound system. Please join me as we declare together our opening affirmation, which is in the bulletin or on the screen. Together, there is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good omnipotence. Suzanne House, who is one of our founding four, is going to share her unity story with us today.
Good morning. I was born in St. Paul, Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota. Like you. Like probably many of you, I was raised Catholic. 12 years of Catholic education. I have an older brother and an older sister. My sister even got 2 years of Catholic college. Anyway, we were raised with all the guilt that the Catholic Church could put on you. After my sister's husband left her with 4 small children, the Catholic Church said, you can keep coming and you can bring your money, but you're not worthy for the sacraments. So my sister said, well, if I'm not worthy, I don't want to be here. She had 4 small children. She wanted them to have a good moral background. And so she went seeking other churches. She went to an Episcopal one, Methodist, Unitarian, Church of Religious Science. and finally ended up at Unity. She said, this is where I feel good. It's a positive church. I love it. She even became a prayer chaplain. She was even head of the prayer chaplains. Anyway, a couple of years later, when I divorced, I got the same story. So I said, all right, I don't want to be here either. However, I didn't have children. I wasn't looking for anything. I just took the easy way out. I just didn't go to church. It was more fun. I could do more things. But every time, and I had moved to Florida too in the meantime, in the 70s. My sister was still back in Minnesota. So every time I went home, my sister would say, you gotta come to church with me. And I would go because I loved my sister. And she had the most amazing ministers. One was Rob Robinson. And I said, wow, if I lived here, I'd be coming to church here. I love this. Anyway, she came to Florida on a business trip in the middle 80s. And I was gone on vacation. So she sought out a Unity church while she was here. And she went to Tampa Unity. When I got back from my vacation, she said, you have to come to this church. You'll love it. I said, I don't want to. She said, no, you're coming with me. So I went. The minister was Ross Goodman, a kind, sweet, wonderful man. And I thought, that's okay. So we went to Fellowship Hall after, and my sister had been there a few times. My sister was very outgoing. I mean, she knew everybody in the room. She brought me to people, introduced me. Everybody was so welcoming, so kind. I thought, wow, this is a good place. So my sister went back to Minnesota, and about a month later, I was feeling like I needed something. So I went back to Tampa Unity, and I went back into the Fellowship Hall, and everybody that I met there that day came up to me. It was wonderful, and I thought, this is my home. And Ross said to me one day, Unity has no dogma. What we say is, love God, love yourself, and love your neighbor. If you come from a different religion, anybody can come here. Bring any belief that serves you well. We're not here to tell you you're wrong. I said, well, I guess I'm home. So that's what brought me to Unity. My sister, God bless her, and that's where I've stayed, and that's where I will stay. And I went from Tampa Unity to Unity Church today, I think, with, that was closer to home. Same idea, just closer to home with the Fators. Then we came down this area, and they retired. And Virginia came to Catherine and Brenda and me and said, if you would like me to be your minister, I would be happy to be your minister. And we said, yeah, of course we would. And so that's how we got this church started, and we were a church in a box. All four of us had boxes in our trunk with stuff for church, stuff for the kids, little tables and chairs and things like that. We had hymnals. Each one had something different that we brought. We started at the Embassy Suites in one room, then we moved across the street to another hotel, then to another hotel, and then we went to the strip shopping center, and then we got more room at the strip shopping center, and then we got this beautiful, beautiful place. So that's how we started. Brenda is no longer coming here, but maybe she's going somewhere else. But Catherine Heim and I still attend here, of course, during the pandemic. We didn't go anywhere. We just stayed home. But we're back, and we're glad that you're all here, and I hope you'll keep coming back. We love Reverend Virginia. we don't want to see her go, but you know, everybody wants to retire sometime. You might love your job, but you also love your family. You want to spend time with them. You want to sleep in somewhere. You don't want to have all the responsibility. It's time for somebody else to enjoy that responsibility. So I thank you all for coming, and I guess we'll see you all later in Fellowship Hall afterwards. And if you see somebody you don't know, go up and talk to them like they did with me and make them feel welcome.
Thank you, Suzanne. The Daily Word has daily devotions that inspire people around the world. As we affirm today's message, we become global prayer partners with others, sharing the same positive intentions for the good of all. We ask that you center within now and listen deeply as we share today's message. Jeff Beans will share the Daily Word in English, and Chiki will share the message in Spanish.
World Peace. Sunday, June 13th, 2021. Peace shared between people spreads throughout the world. I contribute to world peace when I join in spirit with all people who dedicate themselves to expressing divine love, united in the belief that God is within everyone. I affirm the divinity of humankind and honor each person as a unique expression of God. I recognize and release any unkind thoughts or feelings towards any person or group of people. I respect all others and seek to learn more about customs and beliefs that are unfamiliar to me as I grow in a spirit of kinship. I believe a warm, friendly attitude towards communicates my intentions as effectively as my words. I smile easily and extend myself to others in a spirit of friendship. I remain mindful that as peace flowers between individuals, peace grows in the world. And for Micah 4:3, nations shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
La palabra de hoy es paz mundial. La paz entre las personas se esparce por todo el mundo. Contribuyo a la paz del mundo cuando me uno en espíritu con todas las personas. Expresamos el amor divino genuina y profundamente. Nos unimos con la certeza de que Dios mora en nosotros. Afirmo la divinidad de toda la humanidad. Honro a cada ser humano como una expresión única de Dios. Libero cualquier opinión o sentimiento negativo hacia una persona o un grupo. Respeto a los demás y busco aprender sus costumbres y sus creencias. Al hacerlo, el espíritu de hermandad crece en mí. Mantengo una actitud amigable que expreso con palabras y acciones afables. Sonrío y ayudo a los demás amable y sinceramente. Tengo presente que cuando la paz aflora en cada persona, florece en el mundo. Y de Miqueas 4:3 afirmo: ninguna nación volverá a levantar la espada contra otra nación, y se entrenarán más para hacer la guerra. Y que así sea. Gracias.
Let's listen to I Am a Gift in preparation for meditation. We remind you not to sing along as a COVID precaution. Please hum the melody if you would like to.
So I invite you now to join me in this time of meditation. And we begin by closing our eyes, if you haven't already done that. And I invite you to relax and allow the chair to support the weight of your body. And then just notice how you're feeling in this moment as we bring our attention into our hearts. And we relax deeply with conscious breathing. And I invite you to take a short breath in and a long exhale. And another. And another. And next breath, exhale with an audible sigh. And now we allow the breath to find a natural rhythm. But we continue to notice the breath coming in and going out. We can use the breath to relax and center. We can use the breath to be aware of the divine life essence that we are. And as we breathe, we are breathing from the one atmosphere of our planet that we all breathe from. reminding us of our oneness with one another, reminding us of the divine essence that each person is. Reminding us of our divine identity. And when times are stressful, when we are confused about what choice to make, when we are anxious about what might come, when we are faced with what seems to be an overwhelming difficulty, we take a deep breath into our hearts and remember the power of divine love within us to overcome any challenge. The love that heals any fear that arises. The wisdom and understanding that bring clarity out of confusion. The strength of spirit within us to remain centered and focused on the goal. The strength that allows us to have constant mental discipline and focus as we choose and choose again in every moment. With every breath, with every thought, we keep our attention directed to the higher self within. For this is our true identity, our real power, our ability to love the unlovable, to love ourselves and others as we love divinity, the divine spirit, source. And so no matter the difficulty that arises, we have all we need within us. The divine within us is greater than any challenge. And it is that we are here to express. Estamos aquí en este mundo para expresar nuestra divinidad, nuestros poderes divinos del amor, sabiduría, fe, fortaleza y todas las cualidades de Dios que tenemos adentro de nosotros. Centered within, we remember that we are here to be the light and the love that is needed for all, to grow in expression and realization of our purpose. For in every moment we are well equipped. Every moment is an opportunity to be more loving, wiser, stronger. This is who we are. So in the silence, I want you to affirm for yourself, I am a gift of spirit. I am here on purpose. I am important and valuable. I am an expression of the divine. And as I express my higher and true self, I find greater joy moments in the silence, hold that thought in your heart. Allow that truth to penetrate your consciousness, to release any doubts about that truth, to find that place of peaceful reassurance and serenity within as you accept this truth. En el silencio aceptamos la verdad, que somos un regalo de Dios, aquí y ahora, in the silence. Respiramos profundamente y breathe in again deeply. And notice how you're feeling. And if there was any resistance to that knowing that you are the wonderful gift of God here and now, sit with that truth, allowing it to dispel all doubts and confusion, to bring you into clarity, into spiritual confidence. And we give thanks for the knowing that all of us are awakening more and more to greater spiritual understanding, greater acceptance of ourselves as powerful, creative, loving, and wise spiritual beings. That in every moment of life we may live from that truth. And we claim that for ourselves and all people, knowing that this manifestation will bring peace and harmony to our world. And so it is. And I invite you to take a moment now to bring to mind those you would like to include in prayer. And as we think of each one, we do not think of them as victims of life or weak in any way. We see them as they truly are, the bright, brilliant light of God, strong, loving, and wise, centered in balance, joyful. Take time now with that in mind, speaking these names silently or out loud. And so as we continue to be with these loved ones in spirit, we remember to behold their wholeness, their perfect expression of the divine, supporting them and expressing that, and coming into their peace and power. And so it is. I invite you to join me now as we join together in affirming, as Jesus taught us to pray, our Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have also forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Well, we are fully engaged in transition. And what we have been learning these last few months leading up to this day is how to understand what it means as an aware spiritual being going through transition. Because we are constantly going through transitions in our lives, as we have been talking about from the book, The Finding Yourself in Transition by Reverend Robert Brummett. And we know, I hope those of you who are studying it, it's been a very popular book as people are buying more copies to give to others because it's got a lot of great information in it. And so in the book we learn that life is about change. It's about going through transitions just like we're doing now. Some are more dramatic and sometimes traumatic than others, especially when life surprises us with things we did not expect, which is like all the time. And so what we learn in the book is that there are three main phases. The first is the ending. That is the part, of course, that is very emotional. In whatever transition comes to an end, we know that there are a lot of emotions like we are experiencing together at this ending of the beginning we have with this ministry. Someone said that with every beginning there will be an ending. And today is that day for one part of our journey as this ministry. And so there are many emotions for me, and especially as I see faces I haven't seen for a while, and ones that I see all the time. that in these 14 years we have been together, that we have built deep relationships, that we have grown together, we have learned together, we have worked together, we have created this wonderful place, and it's only the beginning. So there's the ending, and then there's the middle part, which the book calls the void. Some suggested maybe the mystery. It is a mystery that we enter into because we don't know what's coming next, and we don't have a roadmap, and we don't have instructions. So we're confused sometimes, and sometimes we feel lost. When once we've accepted the ending, we say, what's next? And we've learned in the book that it's great to take time in this middle stage for self-examination and reflection, and not to get fearful, but to use our spiritual practices so that we stay on course, so that we are open to greater blessings coming to us. And if there are greater challenges in that, that we have all we need to meet those challenges successfully as we use our spiritual principles. It is a time, too, that we don't want to rush through, because the middle stage, the mystery, the void, the pause in between, is when that caterpillar is turning into a butterfly. It's when seeds are planted in our consciousness that will take us into the next step successfully and with serenity and spiritual poise. And so that's what's ahead of us, for you and for me. And in any time we have a distinct change in our lives. And then the next stage, we go from the emptiness to the void, and my mind went blank. What's the third stage? Beginning, the new beginning. The new beginning, the promised land. Moving into the promised land with that new beginning. And so because we accepted the ending, and we took time to build our inner resources during the middle, then we are prepared for that new beginning, however it may show up. Usually not what we think it is, but hey, it's going to be a blessing, because when we work from our consciousness, when we build our spiritual consciousness and faith during these stages, then the new beginning, it will be successful, whatever it brings. Because God in you is greater than any unknown thing that is coming up. And he points out in the book, Reverend Brummett, that the Spirit in us that actually helped create that ending, sustained us through the void and the mystery to bring us into new beginnings. Life is about change and about growth. And if we're not changing and growing, the universe will help us along. It will close some doors, it will release some things, it will, sometimes as we say, give us the cosmic 2x4. It is time for us to change with new thoughts, new goals, new awareness, new development of our spiritual abilities. And so then the new beginning in the book, they use the story in the Bible of Moses leading the people out of Egypt into the promised land. And so what is this thing called the promised land? What are we all moving toward, individually and collectively and globally? What are we moving toward? What is this promised land? Well, Charles Fillmore says that the promised land is a realization of divine substance. Okay, what does that mean? What is this divine substance? And he says this divine substance is spiritual essence. It's living energy out of which everything comes into form, out of every new blessing, every new goal achieved, the serenity and the poise that we find when we stand in faith going through changes. Divine substance reminds me of the quantum field theory. because it is the unmanifested, infinite, without limits potentiality for bringing the invisible into the visible, for making the form formless take on form. And we are the change agents of the form coming into being. So just like scientists say there is energy everywhere, in everything, and that constantly atoms are being formed out of energy and released back into energy, wave and particle, constantly moving, constantly manifesting. So if the promised land is realization of divine substance, it's a state of consciousness. The realization that we live in this substance, that we are here to use it to create and manifest, that we are the change agents needed. So the promised land is a state of consciousness. And in our story, we go through the steps of Moses leaving Egypt, the ending, then they wander around in the wilderness for decades, and they just almost get there, and then they forget who they are, and then they get lost again, and they wander around more, and then they finally get too close to the promised land, and then Moses passes, he dies. And a new leader steps up, Joshua. For Moses had completed his purpose. A new generation of the people of Israel had to come along with new ideas and new faith and new understanding so they could go into the promised land. And Joshua was the leader that was needed in that moment because he was the one to take action. He was the one that acted immediately on his guidance. And he represents divine will within us, the executive ability for us to put things into action, to make things happen, to bring them into form. And Joshua, the name Joshua in Hebrew, is the same as Jesus. Jesus and Joshua, both those names derived from Jehovah, God. Both were extremely expanded expressions of God. And Joshua wasn't the full expression that Jesus came along to be, but he was the highest expression at that time. So he is seen as a symbol representing our I am, our spiritual identity. Joshua represents that. Both Joshua and Moses tried to keep the people faithful to God during the whole journey from Egypt into the promised land. And as you know, there was a lot of grumbling and murmuring. Where's the food? Where's the water? Are we there yet? How long do we have to keep doing this? You know, and any time there was an adversity, people went, God has forsaken us. That's the ego speaking, you know. For we're never alone. But sometimes we feel alone. Sometimes we feel lost and confused. Sometimes the changes seem too big to deal with, or maybe sometimes too many of them all at once. But that's when the Joshua and the Moses in us remind us to stay faithful, to remember who we are and what we came here to be. Moses and Joshua did two things that we need to remember to do as we go through any change in life. And one of those is to stay faithful, knowing that the very energy that we are helped create that ending and the middle and the end. That is that divine essence, that living energy, divine substance that is always working for our good, even when we don't recognize it and we may not even like it at first. Which I'm sure you didn't like it when I resigned. In some ways I didn't like it. I wanted to keep going. But it's time for a different life for me and for you. So Moses and Joshua both continue to have faith in God, and they continue to have communion with God because they were receiving guidance all the time. And then the part of Joshua that's not in Moses is both of them took action. But Joshua was there for that final push into the promised land. So we need that Joshua state of consciousness when it's time to take action. When you recognize the new beginning, and when you say, now is the time. Now is the time for me to take action. Now is the time for me to be open and receptive to the great blessings ahead. And then there was difficulty after they got into the promised land, because there were all these other tribes living there. Hello, wasn't this our land? The land of milk and honey? We were guided to be here? Then why are all these other people here? But Joshua knew that they had to be overcome. So what do those other tribes represent for us? Well, those other tribes did not worship the true God. They were idol worshipers. They had many gods. So the Jewish people were unique in that time to recognize one God, not many gods, not a rain god and a whatever else, crops, God for crops and God for whatever they needed. So they encountered all of these people when they went into the promised land. And they had been nomads. They had been traveling around in the desert. They didn't have a home. And then they came into the promised land and they began to have farms and cities. But they had to fight off these other people. And what are these other people representing? What are the idols that they were worshiping? Was materiality, not a clear understanding of the true God that they were, for that matter. So when they came into Canaan, they came into the promised land, Joshua died. And the people began to worship the idols. They forgot their God. And they began to be greedy and materialistic. And of course there was contention, because we're in that state of consciousness of fear, of course, that they would not be able to claim their land. So fear comes up, doubt comes up, confusion comes up. We forget where our real power is. We might forget and feel abandoned by God. These were the things they had to overcome to fully take possession of the promised land. And so when we go through changes, we need to remember to stay faithful. Remember to continue to do our spiritual practices. Remember that there are great blessings for us, even in the midst of challenges. And Charles Fillmore said, when we seek to be free from the limitations of the physical world and the personality, we are on our way to the promised land, to that state of consciousness where we continually align with our higher self, where we continually seek to express our spiritual powers, where we encourage one another and support one another in a spiritual community. And globally, as our world, humanity itself is going through a historic change, a historic transformation and transition into higher consciousness. The whole journey from Egypt to the Promised Land is about us waking up to who we are, moving into a higher state of consciousness. Every circumstance in life gives us the opportunity to come up higher, to be more of who we're meant to be stronger, more loving, more wise, more understanding. And so a large part of our journey is going to be eliminating that which is not true. The things we have learned growing up from others that aren't true, that life seems to be teaching us, those negative beliefs that are based in fear, we use our power of elimination to let go of those. And so each tribe they conquered, they were letting go of some negativity. They were letting go of what is not true for them, so they could fully take possession of the Promised Land, the full consciousness of an illuminated and enlightened people. And so this is the journey that we're going through. It's all about to continue to grow. So how do we do that? Number one, we want to pay attention. We want to stay awake. We want to look for the blessings in it. We want to do our spiritual practices as always, prayer and meditation, using our principles. And so we want to be in every moment saying, how can can I approach this spiritually? In her book, Divine Audacity, Reverend Linda Martellowitz, it says, let the spiritual approach to everything be your first choice, not your last. The ego self wants to figure it out. The ego self wants to keep us confused, keep us small. So don't let that ego take over. We need to align with our higher self. That's when we come into the serenity and the poise and the blessings of the promised land. And so we want to continue to practice what we know, the 5 principles, all the spiritual principles that Unity teaches, because they are principles that exist in many world religions. Truth is truth wherever you find it. And so pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening around you, but more so, pay attention to what's happening inside of you. Because we have this inner guidance that when we're not feeling good emotionally, we know we're off course. We need to get back into alignment with the higher self within. That when we feel weak, we need to find that strength within, using our prayer and our affirmations and meditation and spiritual study. I've spent 14 years talking about these principles. I don't have a new thought to tell you. And you know what I love about y'all? You quote me back to me. So when I've been down, somebody say, you are the strength of God. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. And when I'm not being so loving, I say, is that the loving thing to do? And I'll go, no. But I know it is. So we have spent 14 years studying these principles, practicing these principles, putting them into action, using them every day in our lives. And that's what we need to continue doing. For this is why we are here. This is what we love about unity. And Ross Goodman was a great unity teacher, and many others. And so all we're wanting to do is to remind each other of the truth, because we need each other on this journey. We need to be here for one another. We need to practice what we know and live the truth that we know. So the promised land is that spiritual realization of all the good God has for us too, when we are in harmony with our true selves. For the more we grow in consciousness, the more we practice these principles, the higher we rise in consciousness and vibration, and that opens us to greater blessings and greater good and greater joy. And we know that to be true, but sometimes we need reminding. So that's why we have Sunday services, and we have classes, and we have prayer groups, and we have friendships with like-minded people, because we need each other. And Unity says, what one heart cannot bear alone, 100 hearts can bear together. So that's why we're here. So Charles Fillmore also said, the full light of truth is available only to those who constantly align with the higher self. Every moment is a time to come back to center and remember who you are. It is a constant process. I wish I could tell you, you do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's all done. But there is no end to this. But the great news about that is the more we do it, the greater it gets. The more peace there is, the more wholeness, the more abundance, the more joy. So celebrate that it's never ending. Don't look at it as a chore, but as an adventure, guiding us to our greatest expression. And so the scripture I want you to remember is, be doers of the word, not merely hearers who deceive themselves. You know, sometimes I read these books and I read these affirmations and get all excited, you know. But the thing is, it's not going to do me any good until I act from it. And so that's what's before us. To stay on track with the principles, stay on course, stay together, encouraging one another. Do not forget who you are. If you don't ever remember anything I have ever taught you, please remember that God in you is greater than any challenge. And the other thing, okay, there's two things. Love is always the answer, whatever the question is. And so, one more slide from Emily Cady, our great teacher. We have come to a place now where our search for truth must no longer be for rewards. It must no longer be our seeking a creed to follow, but it must be our living a life. It must be putting it into action. And when we've been praying this, studying a new way to pray from the God self, from the God within, rather than to the God out there, I am still dedicated to truly knowing that for myself and helping others to discover that, for this is a great state of consciousness that we need to be in now for what's going on in our world and in our lives and in our spiritual community, is to know that our prayers are God speaking to God. And you know how we do that is start with our daily prayers, claiming, speaking, declaring, I am the light of God. I am the infinite, accepting, forgiving love of God. I am the power and the presence of God. So these are our truths. And I'm so grateful to have had this time, because I have grown so much through these 14 years. And it is at this point I feel like I may be close to getting it right about how to be a minister. And now it's time to move on.
Amen.
Bless each one of you. Thank you so much for your love and your support, for forgiving me when I got off course, for listening when I was on course, for working with me. And I want you to know that these 6 acres out here have always been our promised land, but they just represent a state of consciousness. And in this 14 years, we have laid a foundation from which you will go on to create even greater things. And something came to me, and I want to, if I can remember how to, yes, this solid foundation that we are standing on now, that you have created, not just materially, but much more than that, in the consciousness that we have created here, there is just no way to know the exciting manifestations that you are going to launch from this launch pad, this foundation that we have. This is a great new beginning. And so it is.
Amen.
Thank you for getting up. But I have had the honor of listening to you for over 12 years, and I'm so glad now that these services have been online, as I can go back and it's still alive. So. And we are grateful for all of your prayers and your financial support. Every donation makes a difference in the lives of many. Because of your giving, we have a weekly homeless outreach, a supportive prayer chaplain ministry, meaningful Sunday services, and classes. And because of your giving, we have this spacious, peaceful spiritual center. Thank you all. It is easy to give because on our website you can click www.unitynorthtampa.org and click the donate button, or you can send checks to our mailing address in the bulletin or on our website. If you're with us in person today, please put your donations in one of the offering baskets on the wall in the sanctuary or in fellowship. And thank you once again. Please join me in declaring our abundance affirmation. Okay. I am divine love and infinite abundance. All that I am, have, give, and receive multiplies and blesses me and the world. Would our prayer chaplains who are on duty please stand? Our prayer chaplains are available to pray with you privately after the service. Everything that is shared with them is absolutely confidential, and you can recognize the prayer chaplains who are on duty by their purple stoles. Okay. And
That's okay, I'll do it when I get up later.
okay. We're getting secret messages here. Okay. Let me see, now we have announcements. There are only 2 weeks left to get your tickets for the 50-50 drawing for a chance to win the cash prize and to support our ministry. Next Sunday is the last day to purchase your tickets, so be sure to get yours now. Please remember to give 50-50 flyers to your friends, neighbors, co-workers to increase the amount of the prize and our prosperity. Next Sunday, the playful and dynamic Unity minister, Reverend Marcia McCartney, will be our guest sharing her message, The Tao of Play. And now Donna Stevens, our Leadership Council President, has the transition update for us.
Thanks, Linda. Thank you all for coming. This is amazing. I'm looking at the parking lot out there too. I haven't seen it like this in forever. So thank you all for coming, and those of you in fellowship too, thank you. So I'm here to do the transition update. Exciting news. We got the job description online. It's actually posted, so yay! Yay! Okay. It's online at the Unity Worldwide Ministries website. So let the search begin. We know with the collective consciousness of this congregation, the perfect minister will be divinely guided to us without a doubt. We are also working on a video of the premises that we can upload onto the website as well as post with our job description. We have such a beautiful facility and beautiful congregants. Why not flaunt it, right? And we have a search committee already established. We are now scheduling an orientation training meeting within the next week and a half for the search committee, which is where we will walk through the process and the steps that will prepare us in clarifying the selection criteria, reviewing applications, and making decisions leading to the final selection of our new perfect minister. We have a vision and mission statement, and we are very grateful that our vision and mission team has put together our perfect statement that reflects our essence here at Unity North Tampa. The Leadership Council has a meeting this Thursday where we will be reviewing those statements. We are updating our bylaws, and I think they are almost completed. Just needs a little fine tuning yet, but they're getting there. Our transition team. The transition team has been working tirelessly to make sure everything runs smoothly during this transition. We are very grateful for their hard work. I am excited to tell you that we have some very spiritual, inspiring, and motivating speakers already lined up into August. I have seen and heard many of these speakers and know you will definitely be inspired and uplifted throughout the coming months. You do not want to miss out. We are also very grateful for our worship assistants, readers for the daily word, and our ushers. These are all volunteer opportunities, and each of them said yes to giving back to Unity by serving. If you are interested in serving in any of these capacities, please let one of our Leadership Council members know, or see Mindy or Amanda so that we can add you to the schedule. the celebration team. Today we honor Reverend Virginia and her retirement. This was her last message. I swore I was gonna not cry. All right, this was her last message as our active minister at Unity North Tampa. That doesn't mean she's not going back. Just saying. Active minister. The celebration is scheduled to begin at 1 p.m. today. Please give our caterer, Judy Stanko, and our hospitality team time to set up the food and beverages in Fellowship Hall after the service. Thank you for your patience with that. There will be a slide video that will continue looping, so be sure to check out the big screen TV in Fellowship. There are also canopies set up outside so that we can have a little bit of shade and be able to social distance as well. Also, be sure to sign the guest book that we have, a special guest book, and add any comments that you would like, which is a keepsake for Reverend Virginia. I believe they set it up in the
Connection corner.
Connection corner. Thank you, Connection corner. There will also be a photo spot where you can have pictures taken with our very own Reverend Virginia and by our very own Amanda. I would also like to send out a huge thank you, I can't say that enough, huge thank you to all that have helped me put this day together. It took an army, it literally took an army, and I have a whole list of names, and I was going to announce all of them, and I was telling men, we'll be here all day, we'll be here all day. You know who you are, I'm going to get your names out there, I will, and I thank you. My two right-hand persons, Penny Phillips and Amanda Stanko, for helping me. Thank you very much. Could not have done it without you. Could not have done it without all of you. So that is the transition update. So now we have some fun. I have a special letter here. See Unity headquarters?
Wow.
Yeah. I'm going to read it out loud. It's to you. It says, Reverend Virginia, on behalf of myself, the executive team, and employees of Unity World Headquarters, I extend our congratulations on your retirement. We honor you and your many years of service in Unity on this very special day. We rejoice with you as you celebrate 26 years in ministry and 15 years with Unity North Tampa. In these years, the world has seen significant change, but one thing remains constant. The light of Spirit shines in and through you and your ministry in all of its expressions. So true. As this light shines from you individually and collectively in your community, your ministry touches the hearts of the people you are serving while radiating outward in an ever-widening circle of light and love that shines around the world. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you as we hold you in love, in loving, faith-filled prayer. And we know that your ministry and beloved community will continue to bless and lift the hearts of others for years to come. In our unity of purpose, this is signed Reverend Jim Blake, the CEO. Yes? So I'm going to do a gift presentation for you. First of all, though, I do want to make another announcement. I would like to announce to the congregation that since Reverend Virginia is our founding minister of Unity North Tampa, we have to have something to commemorate her legacy. So we decided that we will have a portrait made of her to honor her legacy, and it will go up somewhere where we can all view it. So. Okay, so now I would like to do the gift presentation. So we wanted to make sure that we presented Reverend Virginia with a meaningful keepsake for her retirement. In trying to decide what should be engraved on the gift for her, we could have selected any number of words. In particular, she exemplifies Unity's 12 spiritual powers, most notably faith, Her faith in divinity that was so apparent from the personal experiences she shared with us in Sunday talks and classes. Her strength to overcome so many obstacles in life's path. Her imagination to envision Unity North Tampa 14 years ago and later to manifest this awesome spiritual center. Her wisdom as a spiritual teacher and as a member of the leadership of this ministry. Her understanding of Unity principles, the Bible, teachings of spiritual masters, and the workings of the metaphysical world, as well as the intricacies of our human experience as spiritual beings. Her zeal that was demonstrated in so many facets of her life, and of course, love. The love that she exudes every day to all of her Unity North Tampa family, and this needs no further explanation. Since the keepsake we selected allowed only a limited number of words to be engraved on it, we came up with something that would combine all that Reverend Virginia stands for. Therefore, we chose the following. We are ecstatically grateful for your spiritual essence at Unity North Tampa. Thank you, Virginia. We'd like for you to open this.
My mother told me that the first words that I spoke as a little baby was, "Open it." So that means that I was born in April, and by December I was wanting presents to be opened. So I've been good at this all my life. This is exciting. Almost too pretty to open. But I will. It's heavy. It's shaped like a heart. And I need my glasses to read this. Let's see.
Want me to repeat what I said?
Yes, please.
We are ecstatically grateful for your essence here at Unity North Tampa.
Thank you. And there's a package within the package. Oh, it's a bracelet with all these wonderful spiritual reminders. Oh, how beautiful. Okay, I'll be wearing that. Trying to be neat with a mess. And there's more. I truly feel appreciated. I want you to know through this transition time. It's been wonderful having time with those of you who I've been able to connect with. And I feel truly appreciated and celebrated. Okay. This is a prayer blanket.
Yeah, but no.
Okay. Oh. It's a Bible carrier, right?
No.
No?
No.
Kira says so.
Untie.
Okay.
Untie it and then
Okay. I like the colors.
open it up.
It's a travel bag. Absolutely perfect. I do plan to travel. I talked with my family just on Friday, and they're so excited about me being able to visit. Thank you so much for the beautiful, thoughtful gifts. Thank you all who contributed, and for your individual gifts also that you have given.
We have one more thing.
Oh, one more.
Bob and Charlotte's.
Is this working? Yeah, Bob and Charlotte Slikowski.
Uh-huh.
They moved away.
Yes.
They sent a video for you.
Really?
I'm Reverend Virginia. We are so grateful to be part of the Manifesting Your Vision, and what a vision it turned out to be. We're so proud to be part of that. We're so grateful also for all of your prayers and your lessons that you've taught us. And we've just become such unity students and truth students, and we're so thankful to be part of that.
For me, Reverend Virginia, 2008 was a banner year. That was the year that I personally got into Unity, starting with Unity of North Tampa. For the dedication, for the inspiration, for all the hours that you've helped us, that you've shared with your congregation, I offer you, we offer our sincerest appreciation. Good luck in your retirement, which, as we know, is just a funny word that means the next adventure. We love you.
And some of you may not know that when they moved to North Georgia, to a small town, they started being active with the Unity Center there, and they would call and ask us to ask me to send this stuff about the prayer chaplains or whatever, you know. So I've been sending the materials over the years, so I feel like we have helped birth that other congregation too, and it's so special to have Barbara and Charlotte involved here. How sweet of them. That is so wonderful. Thank you. Any more surprises? Like that's not enough. Well, I do want to, we didn't bless our offering, so I want to do that now. So we just want to take a moment to give thanks for every gift that has been sent in, given in love, whether it came in electronically, by mail, or in person. We know that each one of you are motivated by your love for God and these principles as you give of your treasure to support the ongoing communication and sharing of the Unity principles. We know that each one of these gifts is dedicated to the will and the work of the Christ in and through each one of us. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
And so it is time now for us to listen to our peace song. One of these days we'll be able to sing it again, but let's just stand together. If you want to hold hands, if you're comfortable doing that, please do so. And invite you to, as we sing this song, let us sing it from our hearts for peace in our community and our spiritual family and in the world. Invite you to really speak these words with intention and clarity and acceptance for yourself and for all people. Together we declare our truth. The light of God surrounds us. We are light. The love of God enfolds us. We are love. The power of God protects us.